Hello everyone, we are Team 1, conformed of Luis, Ernesto, Jose, Job and Emmanuel, and we are going to talk about respiratory system. The respiratory system is composed of various sections where the air enters from the nose to the alveoli in the lungs, and it has several processes that occurs inside the structure. We are also going to see the diseases that can lead to a malfunction and the description of the structures and finally the oxygenation levels. Hello, I'm Luis and I'm going to explain the structure and function of the respiratory system. First, we have the nose, which is a pyramidal structure that allows the entrance of air. The nostrils are the primary entrance of air. Inside the nose, the choanae connects the nasal cavity to the throat. The nasal passages are covered with mucus, which is a fluid which traps dust and like microbes, and cilia, which is like hairs that help move the mucus out the respiratory system. Next we have the mouth and the pharynx. The mouth serve here. The mouth serves as an alternative airway where the air can also pass in the food and starting and it connects to the pharynx, a tube that serves both respiratory and digestive functions. So the isthmus is a passage linking the cavity to the pharynx. Inside the pharynx we can find the tonsils, which help in which help to fight like infections of microbes, and uvula, which is a small structure at the back of the mouth that helps in speech and prevents like food from entering to the nasal cavity. And the pharynx, as you can see, is divided in three parts. The nasopharynx, which is behind the nose and connects the tube. The oropharynx, behind the mouth, is where the air and food crosses, and the laryngopharynx, which directs food into the esophagus and air into the larynx. Finally, the larynx, also known as voice box, contains the vocal cords and ensures that food does not enter the airway and airway continues its way to the lungs. So these structures work together to help us breathe, speak, and swallow safely, but principally for our objective is the study of the respiratory system, which will be developed clearer in the following slides. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ernesto, and today I'm gonna talk about the trachea, the bronchi and bronchioles, and gas exchange. The trachea is a flexible tube about 18 to 20 centimeters, with cartilaginous rings that prevent collapse. This allows air to reach the lungs, that is lined with mucous cilia to block particles. The Cox center triggers reflex to expel foreign agents. Bronchi and bronchioles. The trachea splits into two bronchi 1 centimeter wide, each leading to a lung and branching into bronchioles that is 1 millimeter wide, ending in microscopic alveoli. This structure is called the bronchial tree. Finally, the gas exchange. The respiratory and circulatory systems work together. Hemoglobin carries oxygen to cells and removes carbon dioxide for exhalation.
Diseases. There is no safe smoke for respiratory system if it comes either from a cigarette or an organic element like a vape. Circulatory system is not designed to receive external elements rather than the oxygen. Everything else affects the respiratory tract and produces a disease. One of them pulmonary diseases is emphysema. It's a loss of elasticity of lung tissue. The lungs became more stiff and stop expanding, resulting in short breath. It also causes the alveoli to rupture. The oxygen exchange is poor and the excess of carbon dioxide is not removed. The symptoms of this are frequent coughing, cough that produces mucus, feeling pressure in chest, and the common causes of emphysema is marijuana smoke, atmospheric pollution, and vapors, solvents, and dust. Another one disease that affects the connective part is bronchitis. It's inflammation of lining of the bronchi that lacks of airflow and builds up mucus near the bronchioles. That is considered a chronic disease when at least the 3 months have passed and persistent symptoms do not improve. The symptoms are coughing, fits for no reason, and difficulty in breathing. Common causes of bronchitis is smoking, other like other risk factors imply the environmental pollution and inhalation of gases or particles. Finally, lung cancer is the most common type of cancer globally. In Mexican women, lung cancer is more common than breast cancer, and 90% of the cancer patients are smokers. In Mexico, tobacco is associated with alcohol, and the studies is that 63% of lung cancer patients were consumers of both products. The symptoms of this are persistent cough, chest pain, voice change, and chronic bronchitis, and the risk factors or causes are smoking, inhalation of gases and particles, and asbestos.
Hello, my name is Hobson Niceros and I will continue with the topic of smoking kills people. To start, I want to say that the nicotine in tobacco is as addictive as cocaine or heroin, and like all drugs, they are extremely difficult to stop using them. This process starts when you consume nicotine in tobacco, then your brain starts to create a stimulant effect. But through the time when you consume it, the brain starts to need more amount of substance to create the same experience of stimulant effect. And then we have the data of smokers that they are glorifying because according to a World Health Organization, half of all smokers will die from a smoking related cause, and almost 40% of the teenagers start smoking at 15 years. After that, we have the anti smoking laws. Fortunately, in Mexico, the government initiates the anti smoking laws that this prohibits the use of cigarettes in any public or private space. The first law says that smoking is banned in enclosed public or private spaces like hotels, restaurants, malls, etc. Then it says that the penalties if you broke the last law fines up to the 10,000 minimum wages. That it means that you will lose much money because an irrelevant cost. Then it says that advertising and promoting tobacco products should be directed only to adults and not to teenagers. And if you promote this product, it have to be by personal communication like mail or message. To to conclude with these laws, it says that it increases the size of warning labels on cigarette packs which should include images of human organs affected by tobacco use, like the lungs. Then, to conclude with this topic, I want to talk about the electronic cigarettes. So recently, the use of cigarettes, so that they are called vaping, has become popular. But what hasn't been highlighted is the increase of lung damage and deaths associated with their use. Most of their users are teenagers, and there is a wide range of cigarettes, shapes, and sizes. Here are some examples of them. Inhaler activates a battery-powered heating device that raises the temperature of liquid in the cartridge, causing vapors to be inhaled. These vapors expose the lungs to a big variety of chemicals that can damage you, including nicotine and other ingredients, as well as any additional product created during the vaporization process. So that's all of about the topic of smoking. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Francisco and I'm going to talk about oxygenation levels. The primary function of the lungs is to exchange gas, bring oxygen to the body, and remove carbon dioxide. Levels of oxygenation indicate how much oxygen bodies carry compared to its measuring capacity. The device in the image is called an oximeter, which helps us to measure the oxygen saturation in the body. A healthy person has a oxygen saturation between 95 and 100. If the oxygen saturation is below 90, that means they are asthmatic or hypoxanemic.